At the beginning of 2024, my goal was to leave resentment behind and to cultivate gratitude going forward. I spent a lot of time wandering around in the weeds, making no progress, until finally realizing that everything I thought I knew about gratitude was wrong. In my early life experience, gratitude was simply a list of items my family would share around the holiday dinner table. Dad would kick it off with something like, "I'm grateful for my family, my health, and the opportunities we enjoy in this country." Then around the table we would go, each reciting a hastily contrived list while dinner grew cold. And unless you were early in the rotation, you were often forced to repeat something, some gratitude already claimed, or riff on the sentiment cribbed from a Hallmark card at the drugstore. From childhood, we were taught to count our blessings, but somehow this sort of recital always felt forced, shallow. I understood rationally the benefits of gratitude, but emotionally, I didn't feel particularly grateful, especially later in life, when the debris from crises and trauma began to accumulate in my mind. It had long been my practice to studiously avoid the examination of my life. Don't have time, don't need it, don't want to know. And this worked pretty well until suddenly it didn't, some 15 years ago. A leukemia diagnosis capped a long losing streak of death, divorce, domicile, and employ. I lost my bearings, and I lost all way. They say that all things happen for a reason. Is that true? I met my beautiful wife, Lisa, a true angel, at UNC Hospital. And she, possessed of great wisdom and empathy, introduced me to Reverend Wongong and this wonderful community some 10 years ago. Eventually, I responded to the healing nature of time. I grew accustomed to the quiet persistence of cancer and came to view it not as a dark, fearsome presence, but as an unexpected teacher. My slow, invisible disease stripped away all the non-essential elements and allowed me to visualize a better version of myself. Now, my recent inquiry into spirituality was not for the promise of benefit in the hereafter, but simply to achieve a greater mastery of this life, to find peace, and perhaps just to be a little easier to be around. Unfortunately, the passage of time did little to unlock the mysteries of gratitude for me. Sure, I could recite a long list of blessings, but I still didn't really feel the magic I was expecting. And I still carried a weight in my chest that wasn't my heart. One day, not so long ago, while I was working on the Dharma Hall deck, Reverend Wongong appeared, as she typically does, carrying a plate of sliced apples and a cup of tea. Inviting me to sit down on the steps, she sat next to me, placing her hand on my wrist. She said simply and with great sincerity, "Thank you for this work and all you do for us." Now, I'd heard these words many times before. Without fail, every time I come to work here, someone emerges from the kitchen with a snack to recognize my presence, and it feels great. But this time, I was awash with the feeling of gratitude simply for receiving an expression of gratitude. It was as if the tumblers of a lock had fallen into place with the insertion of a key. Here, surrounded by the consistent practice of gratitude, I finally understood the power of this simple, heartfelt exchange. Later, I took the time to consult the writings of Master Sotasan on the subject of gratitude, and I found a deceptively simple instruction for the cultivation of gratitude. Listen carefully. Practice awareness and requital of beneficence. Did you get it? I'll say it again. Practice awareness and requital of beneficence. What does that mean? Awareness means consciousness. Requital means payback. And beneficence is something done for the pure benefit of others. Could it be that in order to cultivate gratitude, we need only to consciously recognize and return all acts of mercy, kindness, and generosity? In theory, yes. However, gratitude will not survive in a mind salted with resentment. I tried it for years and it just doesn't work. You see, I had long hidden my resentment under a blanket of apparent blessings, called it gratitude, and remained unsatisfied. Gratitude, as I now understand it, is a circular process. We actively recognize the benefits received and repay those benefits. It's a self-perpetuating, virtuous circle. Active gratitude is a kind of spiritual hospitality, and the practice is truly transformative. It produces a social lubricant that draws us closer to one another, relieving the inherent bitterness of suffering. Over time, I have banished resentment, found gratitude, and fully embraced impermanence. I am curious and excited about what lies beyond the horizon. I sometimes imagine myself as an extraterrestrial, reflecting on our natural world, the miracle of my body, and the grand harmony of our existence. Each day is a gift, each breath a miracle. I find myself filled with gratitude for simple pleasures I once took for granted. A kind word, a smile, a thoughtful conversation, a shared meal, a carpet of colorful leaves taking flight on a gust of wind. I no longer obsess over declining populations of healthy blood cells, or grouse over the alleged demise of democracy. I've managed to transform resentment into appreciation by focusing on the marvelous abundance that surrounds me. There's work to be done, a life to be lived, a good woman to be loved, and much kindness to be repaid. Thank you.